There we go.
All right, we're good to go.
Okay, I would like to welcome everyone to the virtual town board meeting, January 13th, 2022. I apologize that I am not visible here. The compromised internet service that I have available just doesn't make that possible. One thing I want to say before we start, because this is 100% Zoom, after someone speaks, if you want to speak next, if you want to just take a couple of second delay, because this has a tendency to get garbled as it is. So anything we can do to try to minimize that, let's do that. So at this point, let's start in with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pastor is not able to be with us this evening, and so we hope, we don't know, we hope that we'll be able to get back to a more typical routine in a couple of weeks. We'll just have to see how things progress here. Could I ask for approval of the minutes for the end of the year board meeting on Thursday, December 30th? Would someone like to make a motion on that?
Make a motion to approve the minutes for the end of the year town board meeting held on Thursday, December 30th, 2021.
Second.
We have a second? Any discussion? Brandy, could you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Ganther,
Aye.
Councilmember Lux,
Aye.
Councilmember Grant,
Aye.
Supervisor Wenzel.
Aye. Okay, we move on. Could I have the town clerk's report, please?
Yes, so the total and local shares remitted for December 1st through December 31st of 2021 was $1,461.58. The total non-local revenues was $65.22 for a total state, county, and local revenues of $1,526.80.
Okay, the supervisor's report. Revenues, general fund. The revenues shows a negative of 97,066.57 cents. And that is as a result of a fund adjustment. Highway fund revenues, $240,695.66. Total, $143,629.09. Disbursements, general fund, $196,651.53. Highway fund, $68,584.47. Sewer district number 1, $15,978.81. Sewer district number 2, $11,960.25. Sewer district number 3, $4,277.18. Total disbursements, $297,452.24. Payment of claims, please.
Payment of claims, vouchers per fund. General fund, $25,929.34. Highway fund, $3,327.43. Sewer district number 1, $128,771.45. Sewer district number 2, $634.96. Sewer district number 3, $77,877.31 for a total of $236,540.49. I need a second.
I'll second.
Randy, could you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Ganther,
Aye.
Councilmember Grant,
Aye.
Councilmember Lux, Councilmember Lux,
Aye.
Supervisor Wenzel.
Aye. Okay, we move on to committee reports. The first is Highway. I spoke with Bill just within the past hour. He's not able to be with us this evening as a result of the fact that the temperature warmed up a little bit today for the first time since our ice storm last Sunday. Some of the roads got wet and they immediately refroze after the sun went down. So he called men out this evening. So he's got men out on the road right now. They did have some challenges with the ice storm last week. They were able to get through it okay, but as we know, that was quite a situation on Sunday. And as a result of that, there has been some reglazing they've had to get out periodically throughout the week to follow up on that. He was able, as we'll see when we get into the resolutions, he was able to find someone to come in as a part-time wingman. So he's got a position filled, and he's also got another position that we'll talk about when we get into the resolutions. Rick on the Highway Committee, as I mentioned earlier, not able to be here this evening. That's all I have. I don't know if anybody else has had any conversations with Rick. Anything else? I'm sorry, with Bill. Anything else beyond that?
I don't have anything, Bill. Do you know if he was just looking for one wingman or if he was looking for more than one?
I believe just one. We'll have to check in with him and see about that. My understanding was one only.
Okay. Then, well, it's good he got someone. I know it's been a challenge, so.
Okay, we move on to public safety. Diane, what have you got anything for us?
Yes. So we had our first meeting of the year. I'm learning a lot. I know that according to everyone there, they're having issues with the radios, and that is being all figured out with the county. The fire advisory and EMS advisory board is merging together. I'm not exactly sure what that means at this time, but that's what I'm being told. I will have further information once that is complete. They did indicate, which we all know, that the county is no longer tracking quarantine. So that's something just as a FYI. They did ask who was serving on the UCC advisory board. I didn't have that information. Anybody know?
That we'll have to look into.
Okay. Moriville is having their ice fishing tournament for kids February 19th. They did bring that up. Platterkill Fire Department as of October 2nd is now a fire commission district. And they did have elections, and Scott Burkowski is now the president and Jeff Hoffman is the vice president. And the treasurer is Frank, and there's no secretary. What I did request from everyone present is a list, which we may have this at the town too when they submitted their contracts or their budgets, a list of all EMTs that they have serving the community, because I think it's a smart thing to assess all of our resources so we can make sure that Duanesburg is safe in case of emergency. So hopefully I will get emails from all of our fire departments. There were a few missing, but it would be nice to know how many EMTs we have serving the community, where they're serving, and to what capacity, and see if we could pull from other resources if necessary. And that will complete my report.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you, Diane. Moving on to the Parks Committee, we had a meeting scheduled for last week, and didn't really have an awful lot on the agenda. So given some of the health concerns, the folks decided it was best just to let it go until next month. We'll see what we have in the agenda at that point. The only thing that came up for discussion was, and I'd like to throw this out to the board for consideration, we'll have to give this some thought. Schaefer Park is closed for the winter. As a result of that, the highway department does not maintain the road that goes into Schaefer Park because the park is closed. The school had maintained it at one time in the winter, unless they needed help from the town, and the town would clean it out at a time when that was used for parent parking, for drop off for parents that would bring children to the elementary school. The school has made other arrangements for that. So at this juncture, that is no longer used. So Bill had asked me about blocking that off for the winter. The concern being, what if we were to have a traffic incident, someone were to have an incident with a vehicle in there on the ice, would that expose the town to liability? My standpoint, I could see pluses and minuses on both sides. I know there are people that use that property to go in and walk their dogs. The disc golf, if we don't have a lot of snow on the ground, I know there's folks that want to go in and use that. So I can see pluses and minuses on both sides, but I would ask everybody, give that some thought, and let's talk about that and make a decision on how we think it's best to address that. Sewer districts.
Yeah, hold on a second. Let me make a note on that. Sewer districts. We still do need a candidate for a wastewater treatment plant operator. We've been searching for one for quite some time. We haven't been able to fill that position. So with the new year, we should try to run some ads again and see if we don't have better luck attracting a candidate. I'm not sure if the clerk's office was the one that was posting those ads or not, but I can follow up with either the clerk's office or with Dale and figure out how to get the ads posted for that position. Andrew, what I would like to do is, what I typically do is I meet once a month with Dale, sit down with him, and we go over all the hot issues in the sewer department and you know, the things that worked on the past month or anything that might be preventing them from getting their jobs done. I'd like for you to start joining me in those meetings. So you don't have to do it right now, but if you could kind of think about, if you got some time, maybe just a half hour at some point next week during one of the days, maybe you can get out for lunch or something like that. If we can pick a time, just a half hour where we can sit down with Dale and go through that, I'd like to start getting you involved in those meetings. So you can let me know about that separately.
I'll give you a call and set something up.
Good. And I don't believe Bill Brown is with us. Oh, he is with us. There he is. There he is. Bill Brown is with us. So maybe if we unmute Bill, we can, or if he can unmute himself. There we go. Maybe Bill could give us an update on how the long-term improvement project stands over in Delanson. Bill, I'm turning things over to you.
Thank you, John. I can kind of give some background on that project, and the town also has a separate project in Mariahville, that wastewater treatment plant. The long-term improvement project in Delanson is an upgrade at that facility that was required to be completed by New York State DEC. It's been ongoing for the last couple of years. The town did receive a funding package from EFC, New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation. The total project cost is about 1.7 million. The town received a grant of a little over 400,000, and then the balance is going to be a loan through EFC for 30 years to pay back the cost of the upgrades. So additional equipment and tankage was installed at the facility to provide better treatment of the wastewater prior to being discharged. So that project is near completion. All the construction, all the equipment is installed and been started up. And that was the mandate from New York State DEC to be completed by the end of this past year. So we did meet that. We got the last of the equipment in the week after Thanksgiving. So that was put in and everything started up. And pumps run and the blowers make air and the UV has the bright shiny light bulbs. So we were happy to see all that. We are working through some set points and programming some of the alarms and that stuff this month to button everything up. We do have a couple of invoices from the two construction contractors, one from the electrician and one from the general contractor. They're on your agenda later in the meeting.
Yes, they are. Yep.
So that keeps everything going that way.
So is that so? I know you mentioned you get some trailing issues there, programming alarms, stuff like that. So what's the deal with everything? Do you expect it'll be done with everything by the end of this month? Is that the target?
Yeah, that's our goal, to be, completely off-site.
Yeah.
The electrician or the SCADA provider that does all the controlling stuff was on site yesterday and today, working through some of those set points and whatnot. So
Okay.
we're trying to do that stuff slow versus just trying to, we don't want to just turn a switch and fill everything, up and hope it, we're trying to do it slow so we don't shock the biology of the system, because it is, a existing facility and we have to maintain, permit compliance. So as we're turning new things on, we're trying to do it slow and methodically. So,
Okay.
So we did notify DEC that all the equipment is installed, and they were happy to hear that. So that was good.
I remember, I don't know if it was back during the summer or the spring or whatever, but someone from EFC had actually come out to do an inspection of the project. Do they come out again at the completion to do an inspection, or is that
not usually? They usually just do the one kind of halfway through construction to make sure we're following all the rules, and if there's anything that has to be caught, it can be caught before the job is done. So
I see.
They usually don't, and especially now they're not making quite as many site visits, but we will have our annual inspection from DEC and at some point later this year. So they'll come out and take a picture and see all the new shiny parts and pieces.
Yep. Okay, good.
Just quickly, separately from the Delanson project, the Mariahville wastewater treatment plant. The last time the permit was updated, New York State DEC required that disinfection be added. That currently isn't done at that facility. It wasn't required in the past. So we have to add new equipment to provide disinfection of the wastewater prior to the discharge. The town prepared a funding application 2 years ago and was awarded a grant from New York State DEC of up to $300,000 to cover the cost of an estimated $400,000 construction project. So that grant was awarded. The contract is in place for that funding to be provided to the town. The project has been started by virtue of the design being prepared. That the plans for that project have been submitted and approved by DEC. So the next step will be to bid the construction of the disinfection project. So we're looking to add in UV disinfection similar to Delanson at Mariahville. So probably at the next board meeting, I would ask the board to consider authorizing bidding the construction project. And we'll work with the clerk's office to get the ads in the paper and that type of stuff. The compliance schedule for that project requires that construction contracts be in place by May of this year and the project be completed by May of next year, 2023. So bidding the project here at the first part of the year, hopefully it gets us as good a construction bids as we can get and also keeps us in compliance with our schedule from DEC. The financing for that, like I said, the town is receiving a grant from DEC. One caveat with that, you basically have to front the money and then get reimbursed at the end of the job. So the town so far has taken out a bond anticipation note last year in the amount of 100,000 to cover initial design and project costs. That will need to be rolled over to a second year and then expanded to probably the $400,000 level to cover construction costs. And then once the job is done, we would submit for reimbursement for the $300,000 from DEC, and then you'll have $100,000 net to bond out or pay if there's reserves available or other funding. So once we get construction bids, we can look at that a little closer, so we know kind of the exact dollars that we're looking at, and can work with the town and your bond council to work through that process.
Okay. Sounds good.
And that's all I got.
Thank
Anyone
you,
have any
Bill.
questions for Bill? All good? Yep, thanks a lot, Bill.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you, Bill. Okay, we move on to IT. Anything new with IT?
We did approve the joint project with Spectrum at our last meeting to extend broadband access to the remaining folks on Suits Road and Alexander Road. That was relayed back to Spectrum. So at this point, we're basically waiting for Spectrum to get that on their calendar so they can begin work to get that done. So relief is coming to those folks on those roads. We are using some of our federal COVID relief money that we received from the federal government to actually fund the town portion of that project. And the other portion is followed by is obviously funded by Spectrum themselves. Teresa, I think you had mentioned that you have a contact that is well versed on the use of ARPA funding. Is my memory right there?
Yeah, one of my colleagues here, Rob Gatch, is doing that. And also Brendan Kennedy from BST has really been providing the bulk of the advice to the town with respect to what you're permitted to expend the funds on.
Right.
And so I think after those conversations with Brendan, probably the best thing would be for the town board to come up with a plan on how they want to spend the money. And then it will be easier to do the record keeping with respect to accounting to the federal government and everything else that needs to happen.
Yeah, so I was wondering if we can do that piecemeal, or if really we have to have allocation for all that funding and do it all together. I just wasn't sure how we'd have to proceed with that, because like we know with the Spectrum we're going to fund that project, but the rest of it, we're not quite sure yet if we're going to use. I think we want to use a bunch of it toward the building project, but there might be a couple of other things as well. And it'd be nice if we can do that kind of in pieces as we allocate it. But I wasn't sure how that would work.
You can certainly do it. You can certainly do it that way. The funds can be used for a much broader purposes than had been originally anticipated.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. So what you don't want to do is go beyond the point at which you're supposed to spend it and
Yes.
have a commitment to spend it. So
Clearly, yes.
yeah, you might have like a two-pronged approach, but I do think it would be good for the town board to have a list and allocate the funds to the extent that you can. And that way you'll have a record of what you spent it on as well.
Okay, so Bill, maybe you and I can kind of take a first crack at figuring out how we're going to divvy that up, and then we can discuss it with the board.
We can do that, and as you know, there's still a potential possibility that we've got outstanding with Verizon on some of the other builds, and the costs where that's concerned are unknowns. We were led to believe they may be very attractive And as we look at that, that's going to give us a little bit better idea on where we're going to be with total expenditures on this, and will help in some of the decision making.
Yep. Okay, sounds good. Yep.
Okay. All right.
We additionally we were scheduled to have a broadband meeting this January, but because of illnesses, we ended up postponing that. So, like everything else, right? So we did reschedule our broadband committee meeting to Tuesday, February 8th. Hopefully everyone's feeling better by then. And just Andrew, along the lines of meeting with Dale, I do get together with Clint from Omnis Computing, who handles our IT. I usually try to get together with him in person or by phone twice a year, maybe a little bit often, or more often than that if I can, just to kind of, again, just touch base on the status of everything, see if any equipment needs to be ordered or upgraded, things like that. So that's something that I want to schedule soon and have you sit in with me on that call or that meeting as well. I'll let you know as that unfolds. And that is all I have for IT at the moment.
Okay. Thank you, John. Let's move on to the business meeting. We got a few items on there. Let's get started with it.
Bill, there's a couple of non-committee things that I just want to talk about quickly.
Okay.
One is that Bill Wenzel and I did have a meeting earlier with Nick from CT Mail regarding the building renovation project that we're going to be taking on this year in 2022. We talked about a couple of things. We talked about potentially putting some steps on the east side of the building on the outside that would connect the upper and lower parking lots, so that it would be easier to get between those. Right now, you either have to be a Billy Goat or walk about a quarter of a mile. So we'd like to do something there. We talked about the possibility of an electronic signboard out front. I need to follow up on the details on that. And we also talked a little bit about, we're going to have some propane fired units for the air conditioning, the heating, and we talked about whether or not we want to keep the oil fired ones we have now potentially as a backup heating source. That's something that Bill has on his plate that he's going to follow up on. What I will do to help bring Andrew and Diane up to speed on that project is we do have some documentation. It was the preliminary design documentation on the work that they're going to do, and I'll get a copy of that to you folks so that you can look it over, so you can get a feel for what that project's all about and what it's going to cost. I have that right here. I'll get copies for you. The other thing we have on the agenda is we do have to do our annual audit of the town hall books. Apparently, we just need to have I thought we had to have that whole audit done by the 20th of January, but it seems like we only have to have the requests in and for the information by then. So we have a little bit more time than that to complete that audit. But at some point soon, the board needs to get together and review that information and perform that audit. More information on that will be forthcoming as things unfold.
John, can I just make a suggestion that perhaps the town supervisor and the board would want to talk to the heads of the departments and the justices just to make sure that the accounting information that you need is being provided to the town clerk so that you guys can review it as soon as you're ready to review it.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be to her by the 20th.
Right. Yeah. Yep. Thank you for that. Yes. And yes, I was just looking at that information that along with your help that we got from BST yesterday. So I'll go through that, and as you said, I'll forward that along to them to let them know we need that by the 20th. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it, Bill. Sorry about that. Wanted to get those
No,
things.
that's okay. One thing I'll mention as well, from everything we've been able to gather, what we spoke about tonight with the HVAC system in the expansion of the building, it's actually going to be an HVAC system that's going to encompass not just a new part of the building, but the existing part. It's going to be an upgrade that's going to result in a healthier quality of air. And that is something that, as from everything we see, that is covered by these ARPA funds that the town brought in, because it results in healthier breathing spaces for everybody inside. So we should get a benefit of increased efficiency in heating. We don't have central air in the building right now. We've got window air conditioners. Anyone who runs them knows how much electricity they use. And we're going to have cleaner air inside as well, which, if you've ever been inside the meeting room, whether it was the old one upstairs or the new one downstairs, on a sticky night in August, you'll know that to have an improvement in that system is going to be a great thing.
Sure is. Yep.
Okay, let's move on with the business meeting.
Okay, I can start us off with the first one. Make sure I got the right one here. That's one. I had them all right here. Oh, there it is. Yep, okay. First one is a motion to authorize the town supervisor to submit the documentation to NYS EFC to obtain the funds to pay invoice number 3 in the amount of $73,909.05 to Brunswick Electric. Whereas the town of Dwaynesburg Town Board has established Dwaynesburg Sewer Districts number 1 and 3, and whereas the Delanson Wastewater Treatment Plant (parentheses the Delanson WWTP) serves Dwaynesburg Sewer Districts numbers 1 and 3, and whereas the town board retained Brunswick Electric for contractor services in connection with the long-term improvement projects at the Delanson WWTP (parentheses the project), whereas Brunswick Electric has submitted an invoice dated December 20th, 2021 for town board review in the amount of $73,909.05 for services provided for the period ending December 15th, 2021, parentheses, contractor invoice number 3, which was reviewed and approved by William Brown of Delaware Engineering. Now therefore be it resolved, the town board approves contractor invoice number 3 and authorizes the town supervisor to submit the documentation to New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation to obtain the funds to pay the invoice, and upon receipt of such funds, authorizes payment to Brunswick Electric in the amount of $73,909.05.
Do we have a second on that?
I'll second.
Brandy, could you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Ganther,
Aye.
Councilmember Grant.
Aye.
Councilmember Lux,
Aye.
Supervisor Wenzel.
Aye. Okay, we got anybody to take on the next one?
I'll do it. I just have to get to where I have to see it.
Yeah.
Is there something else I have to read like you did? I'm
You can
scrolling.
just read the resolution, Diane.
Okay. Motion to authorize the town supervisor to submit documentation to NYSEFC to obtain funds to pay invoice number 7 in the amount of $59,751.79 to MCJ Construction.
Teresa, I have it here if you need me to read it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. Just pardon my cold. Whereas the town of Dwaynesburg Town Board has established Dwaynesburg Sewer Districts numbers 1 and 3, and whereas the Delanson Wastewater Treatment Plant, parentheses, the Delanson WWTP, serves Dwaynesburg Sewer Districts number 1 and 3, and whereas the town board retained MCJ Construction for contractor services in connection with long-term improvements project at the Delanson WWTP, parentheses, the project, and whereas MCJ Construction has submitted request for payment number 7 dated December 22nd, 2021 for town board review in the amount of $59,751.79 for services provided for the period ending December 17th, 2021, parentheses, contractor invoice number 7. William Brown of Delaware Engineering approved the pay request on January 4th, 2022. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the town board approves contractor request for payment number 7 and authorizes the town supervisor to submit the documentation to New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation to obtain the funds to make the payment, and upon receipt of such funds, authorizes payment to MCJ Construction in the amount of $59,751.79.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Well, both of these resolutions are to make payment on the long-term improvement project that Bill Brown described that's almost completed over in Delanson.
Randy, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Ganther,
Aye.
Councilmember Grant,
Aye.
Councilmember Lux,
Aye.
Supervisor Wenzel.
Aye. I can take this one on. Motion to authorize the town supervisor to sign the Animal Protective Foundation Agreement. Whereas the town of Dwaynesburg may be required to seize animals pursuant to Article 7 of the Agricultural and Markets Law of the State of New York in the course of providing animal control services within the town. Whereas Section 114, parentheses 2 of the Agricultural Markets Law allows the town to contract for pound or shelter services with any incorporated humane society or similar incorporated dog protective association. And whereas the town requires the pound and shelter services of the Animal Protective Foundation of Schenectady, Inc., the foundation, and has determined to enter an agreement with the foundation for such services, the agreement. And whereas a copy of the agreement is attached here too. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town board approves the agreement and the town supervisor is authorized to sign the agreement.
I'll second.
Okay, discussion on this is a case where if dog control has an animal that they have to pick up and the owner isn't located in, at the time that they pick the dog up, the dog needs to be put in a shelter until such time as the owner can be reached. And so this is an agreement made with a facility where they can house these animals. Any other discussion on that? Randy, could you call the roll, please?
Supervisor Wenzel,
Aye.
Councilmember Grant,
Aye.
Councilmember Ganther,
Aye.
Councilmember Lux.
The next 3 items don't have resolutions attached to them. They just have to be read right off the agenda. So if you guys want to take them.
All right, I'll take one. Motion to reappoint John Bueller. Is that right?
Yes.
To the Board of Assessment Review for a term ending September 30th, 2027.
Second.
I'll second that.
Too late.
Any discussion on that? Brandy, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Grant,
Aye.
Councilmember Ganther,
Aye.
Councilmember Lux,
Aye.
Supervisor Wenzel.
Aye.
A motion to appoint Nick Nicholson.
Oh, your audio's bad, Andrew. Yeah. You know what? You might
I'll
want to
read it.
turn you might want to turn
I'll
your
read it.
video off.
Is that
Yeah.
better?
Yes,
Yes.
it is. Yep.
Motion to appoint Nick Rolison as a full-time motor equipment operator.
I'll second it.
Okay, discussion on this. Bill Reed wanted to hire this gentleman to come on with the highway department. He's got someone who will be leaving later this year, and he had someone he felt was very well qualified to come in to fill that role now. And so that's the reason for this hire. Brandy, could you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Lux,
Aye.
Councilmember Ganther,
Aye.
Councilmember Grant,
Aye.
Supervisor Wenzel.
Aye.
Motion to appoint Stephen Wales as a wing person for the 2022 season.
I'll second.
Discussion on this, as we've mentioned at previous meetings, they have been looking to have somebody part-time to come in as a wing operator on snowplow trucks for the balance of the winter. And so they were happy to have that role filled. So, Brandy, could you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Ganther,
Aye.
Councilmember Grant,
Aye.
Councilmember Lux,
Aye.
Supervisor Wenzel.
Aye. Okay, that takes care of the resolutions we have. Does anyone else have on the board have anything you want to discuss before we go on to privilege of the floor?
All good here.
Okay, well, let's open it up then, the privilege of the floor. We have anyone who would like to speak at this time?
Good evening. This is Lynn Bruning, 13388 Dwaynesburg Road. I ask that my statement be included in tonight's record of the meeting of the minutes is posted on the town website. Oak Hill Solar's August 2021 noise analysis is shallow and incomplete. It omits the battery storage, more than 200 tracking motors, heating source, and other equipment. The project's location may not be accurately reflected. The acoustical engineers I've spoken with about this have referred to it as amateur broad brush document that may not uphold the town's solar law 3J. I've identified a few engineers that specialize in utility solar plus storage projects that will conduct a peer review for this document. Unfortunately, the engineers are not able to provide documentation until the February planning board meeting. I request that the town and planning boards not take any action until the peer review of the noise study is submitted to the planning board for their review. By chance, I happened to find Oak Hill Solar's visual maintenance agreement recorded on the Schenectady County Clerk's Land X website. It was filed January 10th, 2020. The agreement's text does not match the agreement's text provided by the town board and documented in the June 24th, 2021 approved minutes. At this meeting, the town attorney stated that the September 19th, 2019 resolution and the October 17th, 2019 planning board meeting minutes amending the resolution to reflect the correct acreage would be attached. These two documents are attached to the document submitted to the clerk. And although residents repeatedly requested that the site plan sheet 11 of 11, the planting plan, which was submitted to the planning board on September 5th, 2019, be attached to the agreement, the town attorney did not agree. The omission of sheet of 11 from the record may open the door to speculation concerning the size and location of the two Oak Hill solar power plants. Has the town reviewed the agreement filed by Couch White on January 10th, 2022? And why is the document text different than what the town approved? I request that this discrepancy be remedied prior to the planning board taking any action on Oak Hill Solar. And on Monday, January 10th, I submitted a letter and 3 supporting documents to the planning board concerning the November 18th, 2021 planning board meeting minutes, which include the Oak Hill Solar full environmental assessment form, part 3. This document states that the project is 800 feet north of Twinsburg Road. This is significantly different than the project's September 19th, 2019 application and site plan that indicates that the project is nearly 1,500 feet north of Twinsburg Road. I'll attach the letter and supporting documents to this statement tonight and request it's included in the minutes so that other citizens are aware of this discrepancy. On October 20th, the Schenectady County Clerk recorded more than $29 million in mortgages for the Oak Hill projects. These documents include leases and easements for the properties, but omit the visual maintenance agreement approved by the town board on June 24th, 2021. Is the town adequately protected for the planting and maintenance of the visual screening for the lifetime of the project? And in 2018 and 2019, Eden Renewables presented their business as solar developers, experts in installing solar. However, their February 2019 Securities and Exchange Commission Form D reflects that they are indeed real estate industry, not the energy industry. This may explain why the Oak Hill Solar application contains so many errors, omissions, and misleading documents. Did Eden misrepresent themselves to the town and taxpayers? I request that the town board review any possible conflicts of interest that may be present on the planning board review of energy projects. Mike Harris, spouse, he's the vice chair currently. His spouse is employed by New York State Energy Research and Development Authority, and during 2019 project and review, and on April 7th, 2021, she was appointed the president of NYSERDA. In October 2019, Oak Hill Solar was awarded more than $7,700,000 in funding from NYSERDA. As of time of writing, Eden has received over $9 million and Eden has received over $10 million in financial assistance from NYSERDA's financial arm, the New York Green Bank. According to planning board meeting minutes, Mr. Harris's connection to NYSERDA has not been discussed at a meeting and openly disclosed to the public. The meeting minutes do not reflect Mr. Harris recusing himself in 2019, and the 2021 meeting minutes reflect that his votes reflect Oak Hill Solar. And I also request that the town board review possible conflict of interest for the planning board attorney. Her spouse is also in the energy business with multiple companies, and it appears that NYSERDA may have funded at least one of those companies. Any conflict of interest should be on the record and fully accessible to the public. On paper, Oak Hill Solar is a mess of contradictions, errors, and omissions. Any project that begins with the omission of the nearest home is unlikely to improve during construction, operation, or decommissioning. What is right, and what is fair, and it's about time somebody stood up and did something about this project. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to speak at this time? You see anybody else, Brandy?
No, I've asked everybody to unmute and nobody's in the chat. Give it maybe
Okay.
another minute.
We'll give it another minute or so. Okay, could I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Second? I will second that.
John's muted.
He's still muted and still
You're
talking.
still muted.
There he is.
It's
There
probably
you
better to have me muted. It's probably better. You don't want to listen to me anymore.
Okay, do we have a second on that?
I second it. Yes.
Okay, I thought so, but I'm not good at just reading lips, so.
Sorry.
Okay, so we have a second. Brandy, could you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Grant,
Aye.
Councilmember Ganther,
Hi.
Councilmember Lux,
Aye.
Supervisor Wenzel.
Aye. Okay, folks, thank you very much. stay warm, stay well, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.